day has finally come. After several delays, one of the most ambitious projects of Indian cinema is in theatres for our viewing pleasure. Usually, as the years go by and more marketing tools are implemented to remind us of the film that is soon to come, only to be delayed further for no fault of theirs, there is usually a sense of impatience that generates within the audience. But SS Rajamouli is definitely made of different sauce, as he is considered to be one of the most dependable creators we have in Indian cinema. Whenever a creator makes a spectacle that the world talks about, everyone becomes curious about their next step. SS Rajamouli with the epic Bahubali generated the same buzz from the Indian audience, everyone becoming curious about his next venture, and in comes RRR, a close to 500 crore epic with Charan and Junior NTR in lead roles. Based around the time period of the freedom struggle of the country, the story, which has been developed by KV Vijayendra Prasad, is a fictional world with two real-life freedom fighters, Alluri Sitaram Raju from current-day Andhra Pradesh and Komram Bhim from the present-day Telangana area, and has formulated a hypothetical situation in which both these freedom fighters cross paths with one another. Were dear friends, reached a sense of crossroads with one another only to reunite and fight against British imperialism. The film, through its screenplay, aims to shed light on a brotherhood that develops between two freedom fighters, the separate paths in which they embark upon, inadvertently coming across many bumps, cracks, and misunderstandings along the journey, challenging the very foundation of their relationship, only to explore further the atrocities committed by the British, and for the conscience and loyalty for one's motherland to kick in and join hands with one another to fight for the greater cause, the freedom of India. I want to get one thing out of the way so that you already are anticipating the pitch at which this story is presented. As you already know that SS Rajamouli and his treatment of the films is larger than life, so you have to consider that while the characters are based on real life freedom fighters, they have been showcased as superheroes, embarking upon combat sequences that are epic in scale and demand the audience to completely surrender to the vision. The skepticism will only set in if the core emotion is not communicated, and that's where Rajamouli shines. So I've already geared you up for what you are signing up for. Let's not defend the film on the basis of physics, because that will be a long drawn battle not worth fighting. It is larger than life and over the top in some cases, and let's accept it as that. I'm going to be unabashedly honest about this film despite the loyal fan base that comes with it, because that's what this channel and community is all about. So let's get to the good and bad aspects of the film so that you guys can ultimately decide whether to watch RRR in theaters or not. The underwhelming aspects. Formulaic one-tone Britishers. The representation of the Britishers in this film is as black and white as you remember them since the Lagan days. All of them, except most of the women, are snobs who only think brown people are low-life scum. They are the oppressors and only have a smug nature about them in every frame. The portrayal of most of the characters actually follow the pattern of Lagan. While most Britishers are like Captain Andrew Russell, who says dialogues like "Tum hamare joote ke niche hi rahega" to all the Indians, you also have a token empathetic British woman like Elizabeth in this film that talks to the Indians like equals and gives Bhim all the attention and love. The dialogues by the English actors are delivered in the English language, but the creators have made this odd choice to sporadically translate their dialogues after they deliver it. This feature is not uniform in any way, but conveniently comes in and out as the creators pleased. There is an attempt by the creators also to make this British woman come across as a sadist, but her delivery at one point of time just becomes unintentionally funny, announcing that she didn't see blood or enough suffering. At one point of time, it just comes across as the gimmicky evil villain we all like to make fun of rather than find menacing. Hypocrisy of over-the-top action. The harsh truth about the discourse on social media regarding movies is that the same precedent doesn't hold true for all movies across languages. The same set pieces criticized in Hindi cinema are somehow lauded in other languages. Most of the set pieces in RRR are absolutely breathtaking, and actually I will expand on the same when I come to that point. But it is undeniable that some scenes will make you think that the creators were pushing it in terms of the convenience with which characters get away from situations absolutely unscathed, or simply defying physics and basic gravitational laws. Larger than life is one thing, but in some sequences things get really out of hand. Ram's introduction scene itself sees him transitioning from a jump to flying almost instantly. The two main leads meeting for the first time, culminating in this long drawn out bridge rescue scene, is designed beautifully, but takes going through a ball of fire like it's a jog in the park. Again, I reiterate that the film has been presented like an anime, showcasing these freedom fighters as superheroes, so let's treat it like that. Because one man with his sheer hands breaks his security facility like it's nothing, and the other, who is almost immobile within minutes, starts flipping around like he wasn't severely injured just minutes ago. The most absurd of the lot, however, has to be this escape plan from a facility that takes logic completely out of the window and presents a scene that is just too far-fetched and convenient. The slick execution and editing of the set pieces stayed intact in the first half, but seemed to crumble a bit in the second half of the film. If you are convinced that both these characters are basically Avengers, you will buy into the story. If not, then you will find every sequence somewhat over the top or jarring. It's the suspension of disbelief that is key for this film to work. The good. Background score and Natu Natu. The background score that assists most of the action sequences of this film are absolutely exhilarating, and credit needs to be given to Blaze and Keeravani for the same. I mean, you thought that the teaser of this film generated a sense of putting you on the edge of your seat. Wait till you watch some of the action sequences of this film that are assisted brilliantly by the BGM, and you're guaranteed moments of your jaw dropping and instant hooting and cheering developing for the same. Most of the numbers that play in the movie have not been released for public consumption on social media, but trust me, they enhance the scenes tenfold, and you haven't even scratched the surface with some of the great tunes in this film. Natu Natu is my personal favorite, as I am a fan of any actor that really executes a choreography to perfection, and Charan and Junior NTR are extremely capable dancers that lend such energy to this song that it instantly wants you to shake a leg with them as well. I think it was a brilliant decision not to showcase the entire music video before the release of the film, because when the song transitions to just the beats of the song, these two pour their heart out on the dance floor, and it is a spectacle to see in theatres. I'll go on a limb to say that this is the best dance performance you'll see in a theatre after Hrithik and Tiger did Jai Jai Shiv Shankar, but even more so, they beat them in terms of energy levels. World and relationship building. If there is one man who knows how to build the core emotion within the individual and the relationships that he or she shares, while at the same time presenting us human traits in the most grandiose manner, it is SS Rajamouli. As a movie based on real life personalities is being presented in a fictional way, as both real people actually never cross paths with one another, this can go terribly wrong, but the man just knows his way of presenting a story. The world created in a fictional Delhi really does look like India under British rule. The hope within each frame looks decrepit, and the enslavement is as clear as day. But the beauty of the country is as apparent as the dread. The wide expansive shots as the main characters bond with one another, each having a goal in mind. The message for why their goal is paramount is communicated beautifully as the minutes pass by. Through the screenplay of this film, you have clear insight of the world, but the main question is whether the brotherhood between Bhim and Ram really hits home, and trust me, it does. Rajamouli categorically gives enough time to develop the relationship between both of them. From Ram being the perfect wingman to Bhim, and Bhim introducing Ram with open arms to his own abode. The camaraderie and brotherhood sets the foundation of why the core emotion stays intact, even when the second half transitions to stylized action set pieces. The love and care for one another hits home, and it really has to do with Rajamouli's screenplay and KK Senthilkumar's beautiful visuals. Set pieces. The film is going to be known for the future years to come for its mass set pieces, and there's no debate about it. The character introductions is something that I'm still getting goosebumps thinking about. Represented through fire and water, both characters are presented with such technically marvelous set pieces that you are already set for the mass extravaganza that this film promises to be. For me, however, Junior NTR's introduction scene has to trump Ram Charan's for the sheer intensity and the edge of your seat experience, those brief moments guaranteed. A chase sequence through the narrow lanes of the fictional world work perfectly, as you can clearly tell that the real actors are running after one another, making the shots even more realistic and effective. Set pieces that involve a public lashing and a snake bite really do stay with you, but there is honestly nothing like the pre-interval set piece that will just leave you in awe of the sheer audacity of a creator to make that set piece a reality. Rajamouli had said that there is one scene that hasn't been showcased in the trailer that will cause your heartbeats to momentarily stop and immediately generate goosebumps. Yup, trust me, when it happens in front of you, you'll recognize it straight away. You'll know this is the scene he was talking about. It's absolutely bonkers that he made this set piece a reality and pulled it off so well. Both the performances. Both Ram Charan and Junior NTR have given their heart and soul to this project, and you can clearly tell through each and every frame of this film. As the running minutes of the film passed by, I realized that Ram Charan is just a more seasoned and formidable actor than Junior NTR. There are moments that NTR goes a tad bit overboard in the emotional quotient in this film, and I understand the mass pitch of this movie, but Ram understands the assignment and brings the much needed restraint when needed, both in moments of anger and distraught. Bhim is a simpleton who only has one goal in mind. He is naive, loyal, and fearless, and NTR gets the soul of the character bang on. But if you think about the complex layers one needs to portray in this film, it is Ram Charan's character. Ram, who not only has generational trauma but a variety of hurdles that he needs to effectively communicate, and the man does a phenomenal job. You would like to believe that Ajay Devgn and Alia Bhatt are key elements to this film's storyline. There's no doubt about the fact that Ajay is more so in providing insight about one of the main characters, but Alia is just a vessel to communicate a key detail. People will be exaggerating if they go above and beyond raving about both the actors, as they are essentially extended cameos. It's crazy on how much they utilized Alia for promotions because her role is so brief. Ajay Devgn is effective in his role that I can't really expand upon, but stylistically and from an editing perspective, it seemed like a solo movie of its own rather than a continuation of the seamless screenplay of the movie. I mean, at least that was my experience. It's very clear that the actual stars who leave a lasting impression are the two main leads of RRR. The audacity of the man. When you look at some of the set pieces designed by SS Rajamouli, you would categorically state on how audacious it would look if there was an attempt by the man to recreate it on the big screen. But this is the magic of Rajamouli, to even make the presumably absurd look believable and an essential part of a screenplay set during the period of India's struggle for freedom against the British. When you think about mass, this larger-than-life escapism that cinema can guarantee us, there is no one who can do it like Rajamouli, and he has proven it yet again with this film. I can wholeheartedly 100% say that Bahubali will still remain a classic in his filmography that can just not be touched. It's a fact and no one can debate the same. But that in no way discounts what Rajamouli has achieved with scale, vision, and execution with RRR. The film presents genuinely one of the most impactful and jaw-dropping first halves I've seen recently in Indian cinema, and there's no debating the fact that the storytelling does get shoddy in the second half. The stylized set pieces take over rather than the characters and their unified goal. The suspension of disbelief gets tougher, but it doesn't become overwhelming to completely devalue the film and not make us root for the two main characters. RRR is great. It's just not phenomenal, and I think very few will fight me on the same. Traditionalists like SS Rajamouli are few and far between, and we should cherish such individuals and minds and cultivate them further to be surprised and mesmerized again when they dare to dream something insurmountable. And that was the video, guys. Write down in the comments below what you thought about the movie. Please don't forget to follow me on Instagram. The handle's right in front of you. Follow me at JammyPants4. Also, please support us by smashing the like button and subscribing to our channel for weekly content ahead. Thank you for watching.